It's time for RiffTrax.
Ooh, let's hope it's the gritty reboot where the shoes are guns. Made in Japan, so a cameo by Mechagodzilla is not out of the question.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Coronet, Japan loves us more than Jimmy Osmond.
Once upon a time, there lived a little old shoemaker.
Oh yeah? Prove it.
He was a very hard-working shoemaker, but no matter how hard he worked, he remained a very poor little old shoemaker.
His resemblance to Hume Cronin didn't help matters.
It seemed he never had enough money to buy leather for more than one pair of shoes at a time. Into his shop one day came a poor young man.
I'm so drunk. Do I live here?
Shoemaker, can you repair my shoes, please? However, I have no money to pay for your work. Well, let us see what I can do. I'll do my best to help you, although your shoes are badly worn.
And might be baked potatoes wrapped in foil.
Hammered and repaired and fixed the shoes so the young man could wear them.
All without his hammer making contact? That is talent.
That the shabby young man was a fairy prince in disguise. This prince wanted to know if the shoemaker was as kind and helpful as he had heard. It was true.
The guy was an easy mark.
This good, kind shoemaker deserved something better than poverty. So did the shoemaker's wife, who asked the fairy prince to share their humble meal.
We're having boiled leather scraps in dust bunny gravy.
But the disguised prince would not stay. Farewell, good friends. Your kind help in repairing my shoes will not be forgotten.
The shoemaker's wife perceived that as a threat and fetched her shotgun.
That was a strange young man, said the shoemaker's wife. And I do wish he had stayed to dinner, though heaven knows we don't have much.
Literally nothing, it would seem.
There, my dear. Don't fret yourself. Let us be grateful for the little we do have.
Like rickets. We both have rickets.
That night, the poor old shoemaker returned to his work.
Oh, no, he's committing shoemaker
only enough
seppuku.
leather to cut one pair of shoes. Oh dear, put away your work and come to bed.
Let's get down Team America style.
Why, I've just begun to cut these shoes. Well, perhaps you're right.
And the laudanum cocktail is kicking in.
The hour is getting late.
Big day of wishing for death tomorrow.
So, leaving the shoes unfinished, the shoemaker and his wife closed their tiny shop for the night.
The end?
Oh, sweet, hopeful Kevin.
Little did they know as they went to sleep what strange and wonderful things were to happen that night.
Ooh, this is when Rumpelstiltskin visits, right? Did you even read the title of this thing? It was Rumpelstiltskin, right?
Oh, rumple your stillskin.
Leave my stiltskin alone.
The next morning dawned, filled with warm, bright sunlight.
So much better than that cold, dark sunlight.
As the shoemaker walked into his shop, his heart nearly stopped with excitement.
Cash Cab was on.
For he beheld the most beautiful pair of shoes he had ever seen.
Uh-oh, Bat Masterson's
Now it
here.
happened that just then, the richest man in all the village was walking in the neighborhood of the shoemaker's shop.
Yeah, perhaps I'll stop in and wreck the shoemaker's toilet again. Can't stop me, I'm rich.
What's this? Oh, what beautiful shoes. I must have them for my very own.
Quick smash and grab.
Good day. Oh, Good day, sir. May I help you? I want to buy the shoes in your window. I like them so much, I'll pay more than you ask.
For your pathetic groveling has
And the wealthy man
pleased
gave the
me.
shoemaker enough money to buy leather for 2 pairs of shoes. Later, after the leather was cut, it was time for bed.
Took him all day
So
to cut
again,
that
the
leather?
shoes
You
were
might
left
just be a bad
unfinished.
shoemaker.
The next morning, there were 2 pairs of finished shoes. The old shoemaker and his wife were filled with wonder. Who was making the shoes?
Probably little kids in third world factories.
Now, on that day, the most beautiful girl in all the village happened to be passing by the shop. And when she saw the 2 pairs of shoes, she called to the most handsome boy in all the village, to whom she was soon to be married.
In some sort of sick, demented puppet
We
wedding.
must have those shoes for our wedding, she said. And sooner than it takes to tell, the new shoes were purchased by the most beautiful girl in the village and the most handsome boy.
I picked my
They
nose.
paid a sum large enough to buy the shoemaker leather to make 4 pairs of shoes.
So they're twice as rich as the richest man in
And just
town?
as
This
you'd
isn't
expect,
adding up.
The next morning there were 4 pairs of finished shoes. And the morning after that, 8 pairs of finished shoes.
And that's where it stopped, as the number 16 hadn't been invented yet.
By this time, the shoemaker and his wife had grown very curious. It was about time they learned who was making these shoes.
And then steal and patent their shoemaking process.
So that night, they agreed to stay awake and hide in the shop so that they might discover the secret. What would they find out?
$5 says she gets stabbed to the curtain like Polonius.
That's not really your hiding spot, is it?
It was already late. Almost midnight. Listen, do you hear that?
My barbershop quartet's
Quiet.
reuniting.
Someone's singing out there. Then on the stroke of midnight, it happened.
The old man took his fiber pill.
There was a strange light.
You can't see it, but trust me.
Into the shop tumbled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teeny little elves.
I like my 5 teeny up with an olive. No elves.
Oh my goodness. The teeny elves seemed quite familiar with the shoemaker's shop. They headed straight for the workbench.
The elfin centipede.
These elves were the most excellent shoemakers in all the land. They had been sent by the fairy prince to repay the old man and his wife for their kindness.
Okay, so there's a fairy prince who occasionally dispatches elves to sneak into people's homes and reward them for kindness?
Yep, and that's literally the only reason to ever be kind to anyone.
Good to know. Binky bonky bonky bon.
Busily, they worked making shoes from the leather the old shoemaker had left on his workbench.
They're magical, but they still can't provide their own materials. Union rules.
Yeah, you guys need to work faster if we're gonna fill that order from Payless Shoe Source.
Don't give your elf Viagra.
Oh, hi. Stop that.
Yeah, about as efficient as a state highway crew.
Can we stop seeing that, please?
My, how fast they work. As they worked, they sang a happy little tune in a language the shoemaker and his wife could not understand.
Which was a good thing because, wow, the racial slurs. Oh, my God.
Now the shoes were finished as the night ended and the hours of dawn approached.
Time to lambada.
Their work ended. The elves danced merrily around the new shoes that they had made.
Quit dancing and make more shoes.
Still singing their happy little tune, they danced on.
The gears of capitalism demand product.
And then, just as mysteriously as they came, the elves left the shop of the old shoemaker. Husband, did you see the work of the little man?
No, I was staring at the chamber pot all that time. Yes, I saw them!
And both of them were so overcome with gratitude, they resolved to reward the elves.
With exactly 5 Werther's originals.
The next night, the old people hid themselves once again.
And this time, the glue traps were out.
And on the stroke of midnight, just as they had expected, there came the strange light at the window.
It was the richest man in town, thinking he was outside the most beautiful girl's bathroom.
And then into the shop tumbled the 5 teeny elves.
Woo, we just kicked some Keebler ass in softball.
But tonight they found no leather or work laid out for them. Instead, on the workbench were gifts and food for a party.
Where the hell's the booze?
After seeing all these wonderful things, which the shoemaker and his wife had made,
Wonderful.
the elves, in a twinkling, put on their new clothes and burst out singing their merry tune, and danced the most joyous dance ever seen.
Assuming you just had surgery to correct lifelong blindness, and for some reason this is the first thing you're looking at.
How happily the shoemaker and his wife looked on.
As they debated which one to eat first.
We are the mafia, we own you for life.
This is the real nightmare before Christmas.
The elves danced and sang merrily through the night.
Jaws clenched from all the
until the wee
MDMA.
hours of the dawn. Then, just as mysteriously as they came, they left to return to the land of the fairy prince.
AKA pass out in a booth at a Waffle House.
As for the old shoemaker,
He went out of business
now
when
that
it turned out the
elves had
leather
given
was
him a
dog
good
skin.
start, he and his wife continued to thrive and prosper. And they lived happily ever after.
The moral of the story? Hope for supernatural forces to lift you out of poverty.
Coronet, because the bottom of the barrel ain't gonna scrape itself.
It's time for RiffTrax.
Copyright by RiffTrax, all rights reserved.